And now, here's Mike Muse with the political news.
So let's get right to it and meet the candidates.
That completes the opening statement.
We're going to get right to it.
On Sway in the Morning.
Fresh off the back of crumpets, wine, and cheese at Art Basel, we have the one and only Mike Muse.
What's happening, man?
And I saw you at the Google joint. You know, you did a lot at Art Basel. Explain what Art Basel is for those who may not know.
I did, man. So Art Basel is a convening that happens. This one's Art Basel Miami. So it's a convening that happens in Miami, and also a convening that happens in Switzerland. And so that's when pretty much international arts community kind of ascend into Miami, and they get a chance to look at art, view art, purchase art, and really have a lot of conversations throughout the week regarding art and art conversations. And so I was fortunate enough, I was able to produce an event with Bank of America where I was able to have my panel was called The Intersection of Art and Technology. And so really looking at the ways that technology is reshaping art, right? From in terms of how you buy it to terms of how it's being produced, in terms of the medium that is being used. And also too, Sway, we really asked a question, when you look at art on the wall in person, you feel something towards it. But when you look at it on Instagram, does it take away that emotional connection that you have with the art? And so really just doing a deep dive into that. And what was cool about that, Sway, is that most panels you go to, the issue is already resolved, no matter what the issue is, about hearing perspective. But in this case, Sway, the panelists had no answer. They said, we do not know. These are all questions that we're examining in the art world.
Okay, so was people trading baseball cards there too?
Trading baseball cards.
But Carlos Stanton got traded.
You know what I mean? Is that art? Oh, no, I'm just messing with you. All right,
but I do want to shout out a gentleman, a citizen who is a listener of Sway in the Morning. His name is Intan Barola. He says he listens every day to us. And he's a big fan of the show. So he came up to me and he wanted to make sure I sent the love to Sway in the Morning crew.
And with that said, I met a guy by the name of Gus in the parking lot a week ago who listens to us every single morning. His whole family does. Well, his wife listens to Howard. He listens to us, and now he has her listening as well to us. So shout out. And then also Anna, who I play poker with at Lucky Chances, and her husband is over near Korea in the service. Yes. So Anna, what's up? I had to shout them out too.
Nice.
All right, thank you, Mike. Let's talk about these fires real quick, and I want to talk and go into politics. These fires in Southern California have grown bigger and bigger. They're saying that they're burning an area bigger than New York City and Boston combined, Mike Muse. How many acres have burned so far? Have you got any information on that? What does that equal?
Yes, it's 230,000 acres. It's the fifth largest blaze in the state of history. And so the weather is not helping out firefighters at all. There is no rain in the forecast for 10 days. And winds are still gusty and vegetation is still dry. And Governor Jerry Brown, who toured damage over the weekend, Sway, warned that Californians' wildfires are now the new normal.
They're the new norm. Because California, when you drive through California, the roadside is some of the most beautiful you're going to see, you know, but it's so much vegetation on the hillsides, on the road. It gets dried up. We've been in a drought. You know what I mean?
So when Tony Tone from Oakland made that song, It Never Rains in Southern California, it made no sense to me as a kid hearing that song, but I get it now. Like, that was real talk.
Yeah, no, that's real talk. Look, okay, so you know where I live in the Valley.
Right.
You've been there. Y'all been there. Tracy's been there. You remember DB hasn't been there. He hasn't earned that. I'm joking. Remember how hot it was?
Yeah.
It's like that a lot.
My goodness.
Wow.
No, year round. It's like that a lot.
Wow.
Man, I'm just sending out love.
God bless. Man.
It's we're gonna keep you posted on this one. I don't know what we can do. Just pray for rain.
That's all you can do is pray for rain, man.
And people's safety, because that doesn't sound like it's going to stop anytime soon. People, when they tell you to evacuate, like Sway always say, leave. Get out.
It's burning in an area bigger than New York City and Boston combined.
How do you contain that?
You can't.
That is so difficult, man.
How do you contain all that's happening in the political news right now in this realm, especially when you talk about Roy Moore?
Man, speaking of fires in the political system, brother. Sway, I just want to, as we begin to talk about what's happening in political news, as we go around the world and discuss it, I just wanted to put into context and the framework of what we're going to talk about today, right? Think about this from a position of a moral position versus a political position versus a power position. Sway.
Okay, moral position, political position
versus a power position. Okay. And what I mean by that is, last week we saw Democratic Congressman John Conyers of Detroit and Democrat Senator Al Franken. They both resigned for sexual misconduct. Conyers for settling a claim from one of his staffers that she experienced sexual assault from him. And also, too, regards to Senator Al Franken, we all should be familiar with that scenario right now, where a news reporter, anchor, came out and said that she felt sexually violated against Senator Al Franken. They both have resigned. Conyers resigned immediately, but Al Franken said he will resign. He will leave his post in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
We also saw last week a Republican Congressman, Trent Franks of Arizona, who, listen to this. He offered one of his staffers $5 million to carry his child from the Syracuse perspective. But then another office aide said that he asked her to have sex with him in order to impregnate her so that they could also have a child. And so now, as a result, he is now resigning and stepping down from that.
But he made it. When he spoke about it, he tried to make it seem like what's the problem? What's the problem? Like it wasn't something wrong with what he did.
Exactly.
But he did it over and over.
He did it over and over. One would say the first instance, because him and his wife allegedly were having difficulty.
Fertility issues.
Producing a child. So one would say maybe the first one, him offering $5 million to be a surrogate, that would be somewhat normal, right?
Yeah.
But then it goes, did you want it to have sex or did you want to go the IVF method, the in vitro fertilization method?
Yeah.
What we have learned from the second one that came accused is that he actually wanted to have sex with her in order to impregnate her.
Okay.
So then that's when it gets a little bit more into the weeds of sexual misconduct and sexual allegations. So those are the three congressmen. But
just want to get a nut.
Yeah, if I'm gonna pay $5 million.
$5 million.
We'll do it.
But up next though, we have President Trump. He's up today regarding sexual misconduct, and the reason why the women who have accused President Trump during the campaign of sexually assaulting him are going to hold a press conference today. And the press conference they're going to hold today, they're going to ask Congress to set up a special investigation and a probe into the President Trump's sexual misconduct. So today we're going to hear from President Trump. And you know what, Sway? Here's what Ambassador Nikki Haley to United Nations, who's Republican, who sits in President Trump's cabinet, had to say about that.
Women who accuse anyone should be heard. They should be heard and they should be dealt with. And I think we heard from them prior to the election. And I think any woman who has felt violated or felt mistreated in any way, they have every right to speak up.
Nikki Haley, man. Give that woman a round of applause. I like that.
Yeah, man. She's completely broken rank.
Yeah,
and
she's
she
like,
said they need to be heard too.
Well, basically, she's saying let them be heard.
Yeah.
And if it's not true, then it won't be. We'll figure that out.
Yep. But let them be heard because it could be true. Yes.
Why would they come out and say,
No. Why would they come out and say that? But it needs to be looked at. But so that's kind of when you go into a larger issue in terms of I was talking about moral position versus political position versus a power position in terms of what do you value more? Do you value the party position and the party line over some of these women and the sexual assault? Or do you want your congresspersons and those in power to stay there no matter what? And so that's what we're learning and that's what we're hearing.
You know what? Let's put that out there, Mike Muse. I think that's the question.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Say it again.
The question is, should we be looking at party meaning Republican or Democrat party, over the allegations in order for your agenda, whether it's Republican or whether it's Democrat, to be pushed through and legislated? Or should we value the moral fabric of our nation over politics and party?
888-742-3345. Let us know what you think. These accusers against President Trump are coming out. Call us.
Catch me skating through your town, putting it down. Y'all relating, no waiting. I'll make your block infrared hot. I'm like Satan. Y'all feel a nigga struggle. Y'all think a nigga luddle. Hustle behind the wheel, trying to escape my trouble. Can't stop the greeting me. I'm talking sweet the keys, cursing the very God that brought this grief to be. My life is based on sacrifices. Jews like ISIS and fools that think I slip. You fuck around, you get your guys hit. They built me to be filthy on some I do or die shit. For real, the price of leather's got me deeper than ever. And just think, winter's here. I'm trying to feel me, nigga. Politics as usual. Took my Frito to Tito in the district. Bless me with some BS, somethings I could live with. Stop fronting, and for the dough I raise, gotta get shit of praise. No disrespect to you, make sure your word is true. I'm taking wages down in Vegas just in case Tyson have a major night off. That's clean money, the tax write-off. You ain't seen money in your life when it comes to this cheese. Y'all like 3 blind mice. I'm smoking bros who pump Willie, I expose. The furthest you chilies been is the Poconos. My portfolio leads to Don Corleone, nigga, please. 10-year felon, heavy on the wrist. I face use with the diamond flooded Jesus and blind your face shoes for life. Stride, jigger, I keep it tight, nigga. Politics as usual. Feel my triumph, never feel my pain, I'm lying. Low in the leather's iron, the best that's ever came. The game changes like my mind just ain't right. Rewind, get this dope, I guess it ain't your night. Sucking me in like a vacuum. I remember telling my family I'll be back soon. That was December 85, then Jay-Z rise 10 years later. Got me wise, still can't break my underworld tie. I wear black a lot, in the act a lot. Got matching VCRs, a huge Magnavox, 10-inch, green like spinach. Pop wines, that's vintage, it's a lot of big money in my sentence. Hitting towards a meal, lip up, venting I kill like that chick, baby, 1-2 cat, yeah, I do that. Ain't no stopping the champagne from popping, the drawers from dropping, the law from watching. I hate them. Politics as usual.
Now more of the daily news on Sway in the Morning.
Women who accuse anyone should be heard. They should be heard and they should be dealt with. And I think we heard from them prior to the election. And I think any woman who has felt violated or felt mistreated in any way, they have every right to speak up.
Wow, what are your thoughts on this? We're finding out now that President Trump's accusers of sexual harassment are having a press conference today.
Yes, they're going to have a press conference today, Sway, to get Congress to open up a special probe into the sexual misconduct of President Trump.
So the question is?
So the question that we posed to a citizen was, does party trump any sexual allegations or the moral decency of the American system, or should the morality trump any partisan in politics?
Gail is in Miami Gardens. What up, Gail?
What up, Gail?
Hey, what's up?
What's up?
Chilling, Gail. What are your thoughts on this with the question?
Well, my thoughts is that all men should be treated equal. So I think that all women should be able to speak up, and I think that all men should be exposed of any unclean behavior, rather who they are. If it's Trump, if it's my son, I think they need to be dealt with the same as everyone.
Okay. Thank you, Gail. You're a citizen. We have Jessica from St. Louis.
Hey, Jessica.
And the question is, these women should be a part of the question, should have a chance to speak out.
Yes.
Be heard. Jessica, what are your thoughts?
Hey, good morning, Sway Muse. For sure. I think that the women have they should be able to speak out and be heard, and it's true, come to justice. But I think when we look at politics, as a citizen, we want our politicians' moral values, what we voted for them for to shine. Mm-hmm. But I think that we fail to understand that politics, is bigger than that one specific issue. So if they, our politicians will take a knee on a subject in order to advance their political party, I think that they will, because in their mind they've kind of said overall I'm doing a good thing, even if I don't win this battle, we'll win the war in a certain way. So I think that we have to understand that as American people what politics are. But yeah, I think that the women should speak out and be heard, and Trump should come to just for everything.
Because he said take a knee in order to fit their agenda, which is interesting because we're seeing in the case of Roy Moore.
Yeah.
and the president's endorsement of Roy Moore. Isn't that kind of what we're talking about here?
Yeah, it is. That was to the question. So Jessica really got to the heart of that, where she says we have to wrestle with power. Yeah. Right. That is the crux of the question. Is do you want your political party to be in power, whether you're Democrat or whether you're Republican, in spite of any allegations of sexual misconduct or any other moral implication that goes against the society of the American society of the fabric of the American society?
Jamal's in Baltimore. Jamal, what up, man?
What up, Jay?
Big J.
What's going on, y'all? Man, I haven't heard from y'all in a while, man. But listen, Mike Muse, I think you understand what's going on here. It's a political, it's a gamble, right? Republicans usually have the moral. They're usually the party of moral standards or whatever. Yeah. And I think the Democrats are trying to get that back. The question is, will it really matter? Because by the time and I'm just playing devil's advocate here because, of course, the women should be heard and we should all take this seriously. But by the time all of this matters, I'm pretty sure Roy Moore is going to win. Donald Trump's going to stay in office. All these things are going to happen. Meanwhile, all of these laws are going to be passed, whether it's women's choice or gun laws. And all these things are going to happen in 5-10 years from now will we even really think about it. And meanwhile, the Democrats are losing seats. Al Franken and John Conyers, and all these things that's going to be happening, and we're taking a more high ground back. But, the laws are going to be passed according to how they want it to go.
Jamal, you actually raised a really interesting point regarding the moral fabric of the Republican Party. Mm-hmm. The Republican Party has always been seen as this standard values, this family's values kind of scenario, but what we've recently seen is that's being chipped away. The evangelicals of the right? It's being chipped away, what we saw in Oklahoma with the Republican Congress, the state legislator being caught in a motel with a 17-year-old male prostitute. Yeah. We're seeing that happen, who was married. We see that happen in Ohio with a Republican state congressperson, too, as well, who was caught having consensual sex with another man in his office who's also married. Okay. And so then we see with Representative Trent from Arizona, who is asking individuals if he can impregnate them, and he's also married too as well. Yeah. And now we're seeing with Roy Moore too as well. So we're seeing the Republican, this standard bearer of evangelical Christian religious moral right, being chipped away slowly. Yeah. On the flip side, Jamal really asks an interesting point too, as well as when do Democrats change their position, right? Do they go more tactical? Do they go and aim for more power positions? Because the Democrats are the one who always stands up and say, hey, Conyers, you got to step down. Franken, you got to step down. Yeah. Right? But we haven't seen that from the Republican Party. What we've seen them is double down in Moore. We've seen them, the Republican Party, allocate $1 million recently to Moore's campaign. And we've also seen now the President of the United States actually endorse Roy Moore. And since we are on Roy Moore right now, Sway, the election is tomorrow for those who are just curious. It's going to be a big race in Alabama. And the race in Alabama tomorrow, Sway, will be the answer to the question that we asked the citizen just now. If Roy Moore does win, then it will send a signal that the nation or cares more about power and political structure over any morality that may come forward with that. Yeah. And here's what I mean by that. And here's an audio from Roy Moore from an interview that he did in 2011 that was recently dug up.
Personally, I would like to see an amendment that says all the amendments after 10.
Yes. That would eliminate many problems. People don't understand how some of these amendments have completely tried to wreck the form of government that our forefathers intended. Specifically, I think it's the 17th Amendment election of senators.
That's right. The 17th Amendment needs to be repealed. People also don't understand, and from being from the South, I bet you get it, the 14th Amendment was only approved at the point of a gun.
Yeah, it had very serious problems with its approval.
The 14th Amendment, that's the...
So, Sway,
which amendment is the 14th?
The 14th Amendment gave blacks
the right to vote.
Citizenship here in the United States. So essentially, really quickly with that, audio is saying from Roy Moore back in 2011 that he believes every amendment after the 10th Amendment is what caused America and government problems. Really quickly, the 13th Amendment ended slavery. The 14th Amendment guaranteed black citizenship. And the 15th Amendment allowed for them to be able to vote in spite of race, color. The 17th Amendment, which he mentioned, Sway, regarding the 17th Amendment allowed for the voters to vote for senator. Roy Moore has the idea that the state legislators should appoint the senator to
politicians should appoint other politicians.
Okay. Absolutely. All and then the 19th Amendment is what extended the women's right to vote. And so Roy Moore has issues with all those amendments.
So so black
take that in.
Black citizenship, the women's right to vote.
Yep.
State legislatorship, politicians should hire politicians.
Yep. And
he want to rid of.
If that gets rid of everything, then that might solve a lot of our problems that we have here in the government. Based upon what he said in 2011 on this video, that's audio of him saying that directly himself.
Let's talk to the citizens. Let's keep the conversation going online.
Yeah,
Mike Muse, because the election is obviously extremely important.
Yes, it is. It's actually going to be really huge. And so, citizens, hit me up. If you have questions all day, I'll be on Twitter answering any of your questions you may have regarding Roy Moore, Alabama, sexual allegations. We're going to talk about Israel. We're going to talk about the tax plan. I am Mike Muse, M-U-S and Sam E on Twitter and on Instagram.
I am Mike Muse. Heather B.
Sway.
Take me out of this.
Steve Cohen is here. Steve, you'll be proud to know my system is filled with tequila. I was tailgating last night at the Giants and Dallas game, and it didn't go my way.
You would need a lot of tequila to get through that
one. Tequila stocks went up.
Shut up, Sway.
Yeah, I'm too quick.